You've always wanted a child, yes? Yes, Grell smiled. I had once hoped to bear a child one day. But when I went to the doctor's, tears came to his eyes as he recalled the doctor's report that he was, in fact, infertile. Don't think about it, my love, Devon hushed the redhead, knowing what was on Grell's mind. Just think about the child we're going to adopt one day. They're going to be very lucky to have you as a parent. And you, Grell replied as he stopped toying with his food and resumed eating. Chapter 09, The Foster Care System and the Courts, Part 6. Seal was awakened by the jarring sound of an alarm clock going off less than a foot away from his head. He sat up, angrily, and threw it across the room. Usually he was awakened by the opening of curtains and the voice of Sebastian telling him in a kindly voice that it was time to get out of bed. He hated all these electronic gadgets that people were using these days. They simply did not have the personal touch that a good butler gave to things. Mr. Clayworth heard the noise and ran into the room with an angry expression on his face. That alarm clock, he began, his temper boiling over. Let it go, his wife said, pulling him away from Seal. He was just startled, that's all. He's ungrateful. Mr. Clayworth argued. Why should I be grateful for some worthless piece of junk that has no value either monetary or aesthetic, making a sound in my ear like a tone-deaf amateur bagpipe player? Seal complained. Tone-deaf bagpipe player? Mr. Clayworth demanded. You little, he regained his composure. I suppose you think you can make a more pleasing sound? I can't, Seal conceded. Then he grinned and added. But my butler can. You don't have a butler, Mr. Clayworth told him. The shelter says that's just some fantasy you made up. I do have a butler, Seal argued, angrily. He's the best butler in the entire world. His name is Sebastian. No, Mr. Clayworth shook his head. Sebastian was a man who probably kidnapped you when you were born and then lied about. That's not what happened, Seal said, firmly. My parents were there until I was about 11. Sebastian did not kidnap me. He saved my life. On many occasions. You should be ashamed of yourselves for calling him anything other than a hero. Still wearing an irate expression on his face, 10 minutes later, Seal walked into the kitchen and sat at the table. We serve ourselves in this house, Mr. Clayworth told him. I'm not hungry anyhow, Seal said, getting to his feet and starting for the bedroom. You're not skipping school, Mr. Clayworth said. If you're not hungry, you can go outside and wait for the school bus. It'll be here in 5 minutes. Seal growled under his breath as he put his coat on and went to wait for the school bus. He wore his irritated expression all the way to school and into his first period class at the Holloway School. The speed at which it switched from irritated to astonished when he saw his teacher would have been the fastest on record had such things been recorded. It was Grell? Grell's hair was still long, though he was wearing it in a tight bun on the back of his head. He was dressed in what Seal liked to call his librarian suit, his spectacles perched demurely midway down his nose. Grell Sutcliffe? Seal whispered to himself. Grell was standing over him almost instantly. No whispering in class, he said. And my name is Grell Sutcliffe, right? Seal couldn't close his mouth to talk for several moments. Finally he managed a weak apology. Satisfied, Grell smiled and returned to the front of the classroom. Chapter 10, The Foster Care System and the Courts, Part 7. Sebastian sat at his desk in the Immigration Testing Center, quietly filling out the Life in the UK test that was given to all persons filing for naturalization as a British citizen. The questions were easy for him, and he had no intention of getting any of them wrong. He had to get it right so he could get custody of Seal. At the end of the test period, the examiner went from desk to desk collecting the completed papers. "Good luck, everyone," she told them, cheerfully, when she returned to the front of the room. "You will each receive notification in the mail within the next few weeks. For now, you are all dismissed." "How do you think you did?" a woman asked Sebastian as they headed out of the classroom. "I'd say I've got at least a moderate chance of success," Sebastian understated. "I've been living in this country for a long time. I've been working as a butler for the past several years, for the same family my parents worked for. They died a few years ago along with the mother and father of the family in question. So, the child survived. Seal's 13, Sebastian explained. I'm trying to attain legal custody of him. I promise to look after him. I want to keep that promise. I want to adopt him. So, here I am." "That's a lot of work you're doing," the woman replied. "Oh, I'm sorry. I should introduce myself." Rose Fletcher. Sebastian smiled and offered his hand. "Sebastian Michaelis." "Seal's a very lucky boy, Sebastian," Rose told him. "Some people don't think so," Sebastian sighed. "They think he belongs in protective services. I suppose they mean well. But I really don't need people implying that I'm unfit for custody. I'm really the only one who is fit." "Because you share a tragedy," Rose reasoned. Sebastian nodded. "What irks me is that apparently they think any single woman wanting to adopt is a saint and any single man who wants to adopt is a pervert. I have the feeling that you'll prove them wrong," Rose told him as they reached the parking lot. "Well, it was nice meeting you, Sebastian." "Likewise," Sebastian bowed slightly. A car pulled up and a woman waved to Rose. "My friend Jane," Rose explained. "Good luck, Sebastian." "Good luck to you too, Rose," Sebastian waved as a small red Hillman Husky pulled into the parking lot just behind Jane's car. Sebastian almost laughed at the square-shaped automobile with its slightly dented fender and "I brake for students" sticker on the rear bumper. It was exactly the sort of car that Grell Sutcliffe would never have been caught dead in. It was Grell Sutcliffe right who was behind the wheel. "Nice car." "At least it's red," Gray pointed out as Sebastian got in and fastened his seatbelt. "How did your test go?" "I won't know for certain for a few days," Sebastian replied. "But I'm confident that I did well." "I saw Seal this morning," Grell told Sebastian. "He's in my first period class." "How does he look?" Sebastian asked, eagerly. "Sad," Grell explained. "I can tell he misses you. You've been like a father to him. He needs to have that back." "Is he being mistreated, do you think?" Sebastian asked, eyes narrowing dangerously. "Not that I can tell," Grell replied. "I'll continue to keep an eye on him, though." "Thank you." Chapter 11, Citizen Sebastian. Sebastian sipped his cup of morning tea as he sat at breakfast with his lawyer. "Do you have anything lined up, job-wise?" Ravensdale asked. "It's hard to find work when my citizenship hasn't been finalized," Sebastian admitted. It was at this moment that Sebastian's luck took a turn for the better. As if on cue, the phone rang. Ravensdale answered. It was his house after all. "Yes?" "Oh, hello, Mr. Sutcliffe, right?" "Yes, he's here." Sebastian took the phone. "Grell. Is something wrong with Seal?" "They did." "You do?" "Congratulations, Grell." "Boy or girl?" "That's wonderful." "How old is he?" 5 days?" What's his name? Redley. Nice name. I figured it had something to do with the color red. Well, I'd be happy to. Yes, thank you. I'll let you know as soon as my papers come in and I take my oath of citizenship. I'll talk to you soon, Grell. Congratulations again. I can't wait to meet the little one. Okay, I'll let you do that, then. Bye for now. He hung up the phone. New baby? Ravensdale asked with a smile. 5-day-old boy, Sebastian told him. Grell was thrilled as he cradled little Redley in his arms. He'd wanted a baby for the longest time. He had really wanted his own, especially after he had married Devon. He was very excited when this one doctor managed to help a male patient carry his wife's baby after she died in a car crash when she'd been 2 months pregnant. Unfortunately. Begin flashback. Well, Mr. Sutcliffe Wright, the doctor said, looking downcast, you're in excellent health. However, I'm afraid I have bad news for you. I'm afraid that there's a problem with your cellular makeup that means that while you could carry someone else's child, there's no way one of your own cells could be used in creating a child. Not in either this nor the traditional way. I'm terribly sorry. Have you considered adoption? And flashback. All that bad news no longer mattered. All that did matter was that Grell Sutcliffe Wright was now smiling and holding a little baby boy in his arms. His eyes shone with tears of joy as he tickled the baby's tummy and made little cooing noises. So, what did Sebastian say? Devon asked. He says he'll be glad to work for us and seal at the same time, Grell replied. He's just waiting to hear about his test scores. Jack Ravensdale retrieved the mail from the letterbox and searched through it. Smiling, he handed an envelope to Sebastian. Sebastian carefully opened the envelope and smiled as he read its contents. Did you pass? Ravensdale inquired. Sebastian allowed his eyes to go to their natural color, reminding the lawyer just what kind of butler he was working with. What do you think? When's the next citizenship ceremony? There's one in 2 hours, Ravensdale replied. Think you can make that one? Any demon butler who can't be at a ceremony in 2 hours isn't worth his salt, Sebastian replied with a smile. And so it was, 2 hours later, that Sebastian Michaelis became the first demon to attain official British citizenship. Chapter 12. It took Sebastian a week to get his ID card. It would have taken less time, but he needed proof of residence. He had moved into Grell and Devon's house in order to help them take care of the baby and so that he would have a place of residence when it was time for him to adopt Seal. The man behind the counter ordered Sebastian to stand at the line, and took a photograph of him. The man frowned. Something wrong? Sebastian asked. That's odd, the man said. Your eyes look pink in this photograph. Sebastian had been afraid of this. Can you keep a secret? He asked, slyly, having no intention of letting things get bogged down over his eye color. The registrar nodded. As long as it isn't against the public interest. Sebastian leaned in close to him, gazing at him with his natural eye color. They look that way in real life too. The registrar gulped, then printed out the ID and handed it to Sebastian with a smile when he saw that Sebastian intended him no harm. Your secret's safe with me, sir.